So we got some links. Did you guys get the link? You can share the link, whatever. Do whatever you do.
Did.
All right, welcome to the Bidness. We got in the arsenal today. We have the return of Bosco Vita, Jeff Bosco, a local celebrity and DJ extraordinaire. We got Haas from Vegas, Haas of the Franks and Deans, and just the rock and roll world. And Haas wasn't even born; he was just kind of effervesced right out of the rock and roll thing.
Yeah, I believe he was created from spare parts from rockabilly.
God gave rock and roll to you.
After being in Las Vegas, but he ended up with Haas.
And we got Brian from Monkey in Hawaii underneath an umbrella like a damn British Disney character. Anyway,
hey, fuck off. The last time I let my phone sit here in the sun, it almost blew up.
But now you look fabulous, Mary Poppins. We got
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
We got Eric Molina on sax. He's the sax man for hire from Washington. He plays with Monkey. Also plays with a bunch of other
Out of Control Army.
Yeah.
Scotch bonnets.
Part of a lot of different
Scotch bonnets.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah.
It's my Scotch bonnets friends. They're all the way on the other side of the country.
They really are.
We have our secret weapon of the day, which is Middagh Goodwin. He's been a professional promoter of ska, punk, rocksteady reggae music for a million years in the Central Valley, and he was also behind the Plea for Peace Center and a bunch of other really cool projects. So I think today's discussion is going to be awesome. We've got some merry pranksters and some heavy gravity going on as well. So
there's a room full of knowledgeable idiots.
Let's not forget Curtis Meacham.
Thank you. And for those that need an extra, we also have DJ Grogu.
Oh,
Ooh.
what's up, dude? Yo,
This is the way.
DJ Grogu. Disney's gonna sue you.
Yeah.
Facebook is like off.
You're done.
Yeah.
I'm out. We're done. You're fired.
Brian got a disturbance in the force.
I mean, I'm gonna have a monkey. You know what I mean? If you gotta have a monkey.
So let's start it off with Haas. What's the Deans? What are the guys up to? What are the Franks and Deans? What are you doing? What's happened? The COVID has shut everything down in Vegas. What are you doing? What's going on?
I'm not going to lie to you, fellas. I have found out that I am perfectly content doing nothing. I'm really good at not accomplishing anything. There's nothing. I mean, bars are open, but there's no shows. We've been saddled down recently, but held down recently by some illnesses. People are sick, so rehearsals have been out the window lately, and I guess that's about it. Vegas is a ghost town right now, except for all the people from Los Angeles coming and filling up the casinos, spreading the virus, and then going home. That's what Vegas is right now. Every weekend is packed, and during the week we have to deal with the aftermath.
Damn.
Nice.
So
fantastic.
Yeah, it's super I'm super uplifting right now. I apologize.
But hey, you got a dog with a mullet, so that cures everything.
hey, that's cool, Haas. I mean, everything went to shit in the bay, so I ran away to an island. So
yeah. Hold that. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
And while he's off, we're gonna talk mad shit about him. No. Hey,
Brian straight pulled the "fuck this shit I'm out" card. I like it.
I mean,
Fuck this shit.
Nevada's just taking over as the super spreader state over Florida. which is insane
Yeah.
because I don't. It doesn't make any sense to have. Like I remember back in the Nevada days, like in Vegas days, back at the old Gold Spike and like that area where like you walked in and they're like, we have purified air, and all it really was just recirculated cigar air, and I mean you got some crazy flus from that garbage. I can only imagine walking into these places now and having these people rolling around with COVID, circulating air back into, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, penny slots aren't going to do it for me at this point.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure. Yeah. And unfortunately, like $8 rooms is doing it for a lot of people.
That's the problem. It's the low hanging fruit, and the people that don't care, and the people that just go, well, I mean, it's legal, right? I can just do it, right? So that's a problem.
Vegas is
Yep.
always been like that. They find the point at which they can hook the people. It doesn't matter if they even earn money. They're just like, come here. We don't even care.
See,
There's
and
people there that are
the,
earning money.
that's part of what drew me to this place is the always finding the opportunity, but that was then, and that wasn't killing people. I mean, it was killing spirits, but not like this. So it's a weird place to be in a really, really weird time. But I'll tell you this, guys, my wife and I moved here and bought a house. We bought a house about 8 months before the market dropped in 2008.
Mhm.
And living in this town through a recession, and knowing quite a few like local native people that have lived their lives, the one thing I found out about Vegas is this is the most resilient town I've ever seen. It's that people that have been here their whole lives, they take everything in stride and just kind of, you know what, hunker down, ride it out, and if you can last, then it's going to go back up. But this has always been an up down type of city, because anytime anything happens financially to people, this town gets hit first.
Yeah.
People immediately stop coming to Vegas, and that's been the case for 65 years.
Yeah.
So and so this is notably a more extended and shittier time, but we'll get through it, and some things are going to close, and that sucks, but something eventually will replace it. That's one of the only gripes and complaints that I have about this town is how they tear down stuff so fast. Like if you open a bar in this town, don't expect it to be open for more than 2 years. If it is, congratulations. But 2 years is about the lifespan of any new shiny thing in this town.
Except for your spiritual home.
The double down.
Dude, my entire house is nothing but just double down everything.
I'm telling you, it's the only
not
thing.
surprised.
It's the only thing when I was doing traveling sales for Piaggio that would make me want to be in Vegas was the fact that I could stay there overnight
That changed me.
for $80 and then spend all my money at the double down for like 8-9 hours at a time in the middle of the night. I'm going to catch a flight at like 6 in the morning.
I'll be back in 1 minute. I'll be right back.
Yeah. I'm really not surprised that the locals of Vegas are so resilient.
I think most of it's here.
Yeah.
The nerdy
Just-
stuff down there.
I mean, it is literally a city that shouldn't exist.
Yeah, we should not be here.
There's no human that should be living in that climate, and the fact that like
If it wasn't for the
they're
dam,
being so resilient.
there wouldn't be any water in that place, man.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's a bigger threat than a pandemic or a recession or anything. Is eventually, if things keep going the way they're going, eventually, probably not in my lifetime, but if things keep going the way they are, we will eventually run out of water.
Yeah.
And anybody's guess as to what happens then. So,
Mad Max, for real.
yeah.
You'll be having Monkey bringing you bottles of water from the Bay Area.
Bottles of water and La Victoria orange sauce.
There you go. There it is. You got it.
Nice.
Can do. Will
Nice.
do.
Well, I'd like to talk to Middagh, but it looks like Middagh is off doing something and Eric is off doing something. So we might as well talk about the gorilla in the room, or not in the room, which is Rob Hingley sends his love to everyone. Unfortunately, he was going to be on the show today, but at the last minute, there was a family emergency that popped up. So the singer of the Toasters will rejoin us at a later date.
We love you, Rob. We love the Toasters,
Absolutely.
and we hope everything is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about the Toasters, and I wanted to talk about Moon Ska Records, and I wanted to talk about all the stuff that you don't get anymore, because that record label had such an amazing catalog for so long that was just the end of the two-tone era right through the third wave. I mean, if it wasn't for Unicorn, Moon, and all the stuff that came from Rob, and that he discovered and brought from Europe, that we would not have the third wave, period. So that's what I want to hold on to.
Hey,
that.
I already told you I will answer those questions with the wrong answers only.
But I'm just saying, like, you know,
So bring on all the questions about the
Whenever-
1980s when I was.
Who produced the Recriminations album?
So the Recriminations album was produced by Ozzy Osbourne.
Wrong.
Family
Correct. It was Joe Jackson. Joe Jackson.
No,
Joe
it was
Jackson.
Ozzy Osbourne.
Jumpin' Joe Jackson. Family Turpentine was a alias because, you know, Joe had that whole deal with Michael
Michael.
Jackson.
Oh,
Actually,
okay.
Joe Jackson from UK. You know, is she really going out with him? Jumpin' Jive,
Are you?
all that stuff. He actually produced the
Wait.
first album.
Wow.
So that's
The Toasters, yeah, no, totally.
that's a Moon.
There's some great off of the like extended Skaboom. There's a couple of tracks with Joe Jackson playing like melodica with the Toasters at CBGB's
Yeah, he was
live, and it's so
The Bucket.
cool. Yeah,
And so agreed to do that.
those are such great tracks. I don't even remember who the female vocalist is that was on those tracks, but she's great too.
Annie Lennox.
There it is. Thank you.
With all that early stuff, with all European unicorn stuff, right? It was all English unicorn record stuff, and then Bucket basically started doing Moon, and everything kind of started going Unicorn Moon, and then it became Moon.
Well, there was Moon.
And like,
In the U.S., it was Celluloid or Scaluloid.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
But Scaluloid was ripping everybody
Right.
off. So that early stuff that Bim Scala Bim put out was on Scaluloid, and they didn't get paid. And I mean, the big sad thing was Moon, or you know, the whole Toaster Moon, you know, universe, and Bim Scala Bim doing the Mashing Up Nation almost stopped because they didn't have cash because they weren't getting the gratuities.
Wow.
So it would have been a
We're
lot.
a wealth of knowledge.
I read In Defense of Ska by Aaron Carnes, my younger brother. So you know, I got a little bit of it.
You got a pre-copy
Yes.
of it? It's not out yet,
Both
right?
digital and hard copy.
Does he mention Monkey at all? Does he mention us at all? No. You bastard!
There's a picture on the digital copy. You can actually make me out. In here, not at all. It shrunk down to nothingness.
Nice.
well, I was buying
I gotta get that.
it in 88, 89, and not caring where it came from. And then, you know, you find out later how this all goes down and all shakes down. And basically how the record industry boned all the independents, how the independents boned other independents, and how, you know, once everything kind of fell apart after Metallica and Napster, right? That whole thing, it shook everybody all the way down. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's making money.
Well, the sad thing
and then
on the other side is when ska exploded, you know, with the major labels and everything, people that had money, all the small labels, Moon, Jump Up, you know, Asian Man, most of them had distribution deals set up, but you had to have 10,000 copies.
Yeah.
So
and you had to play with those guys. And the thing is, you had to abide by their rules too about how everything goes out. And so a lot of the small guys I just don't have the bandwidth for it.
It was all returns.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, Walmart gets 6 copies of something or 12 copies of something. They sell one, they send everything else back. Now it gets returned to you, and you have 8,000 copies of Freeway Lanes by Let's Go Bowling live. It's true though.
Which I have.
Yeah, I'm on the other side of this iPad. I'm currently staring at the Franks and Dean's merchandise warehouse, and we've got plenty of copies of everything.
Well, I mean, that's the sad thing about not touring is, you know, that's where you're selling it. I mean, every musician on here knows that you're your best distributor.
Absolutely.
Playing live, you're interacting.
Well, and in these days, with the exception of a few record stores here and there, we're the only distributor. Like the guy that owned Squid Hat Records that we were signed to for our first 3 records, he put it best. He said, I can send your records to Kansas City all day. You want me to send them to this record store in Kansas City? Great, I will do it. What's the fucking point if you're not going to go play in Kansas City?
Yeah, you got to build the audience to have somebody want to know what is even vinyl.
Yeah,
right?
you can have your record in every store in America, but unless you go and play there, who the fuck's going to buy it because they don't know who you are?
Right, that's a tough one. And even if it's a genre thing, you know, I mean, if you're a fan and you're just digging through bins and you're like, oh, these guys seem interesting, and I've done that. I think we've all done that. And they're like, okay, cool.
Sure.
You bring it home.
All 200 of you.
Yeah, I get it. But I'm just saying, like, you know, it's impossible to build a fan base from just like fucking Record Geek. You know what I mean? Like, it's you gotta. There's gotta be something out there other than just be like, whoa, well, I'm going through. I've never heard these guys, and it's $5.99. Hell yeah, I'm buying it, and I'm taking a chance on it, and I'll play it and get the grooves off it. But if I never see you live,
which brings us up to a good point in this conversation, is that we have multiple people checking out this live, and you can put your link in the feed for your store. So let's talk about getting your links in the feed.
Store.
Putting link in store. Make money. Sell product.
I'm a consumer, man. I'm not putting anything out.
Buy our shit. Make us not poor.
Will you not for Grogu?
Oh, once again, Facebook. Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Kurt, put the doll down.
Dude,
Put the doll down.
I had to have him as a co-host because of the Ska Wars T-shirt.
No.
True.
No. No. No.
Look at that.
I'm calling no.
You are the Ska Wars. Take off your mask.
Soon it will be the monkey mascot. Don't worry about it.
He's so mad.
So Middagh has booked like 1 million monkey shows. By the way, he's one of our most consistent customers. We've gotten like not just playing his cafes, bars, restaurants, whatever he can line up, but also he's helped us get in contact with people for like weddings and stuff. He's been a really good friend to have in the industry. Just to let you know. And I met him. He's going to love this story because he always tells this story. So I'm going to rush to tell it.
House tomato down.
House tomato down.
I met him at a Skank and Pickle show, and I said, I looked at the posters, and I'm all, hey, those are posters. Do you think I can get band members to sign it? He's like, yeah, sure, I'll sign it. He's held that over my head for 28 years. He's held that over my head.
He asked me to sign it.
I would too.
And at Slim's, I performed with Skank and Pickle, and somebody came up, and I was in the band. I just joined them on technically for a song, and they kept me up for the rest of the night. But somebody came up, and I said, I'm not in the band, but talk to the band. This wasn't Curtis. And they gave me this look like, I watched you perform all night long. So when Curtis came up, I actually signed it, but Curtis actually had come up and was buying CDs that I believe you were reselling at school, correct?
No.
I thought that's what you were doing. You were getting them signed so you could make a little extra profit.
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all.
I believe it was. You can't hear me.
No, but that happened to me. That happened to me. Roland Alfonso of the Scatolites when
Asked you to sign
we had them.
Thing so he could resell it for more
No,
money. Roland was known for that.
No. Roland Alfonso with the Scatolites recorded on our first album, and when the album came out, I asked him how if I could give him a couple copies, for him and his family, and he said, "I will need 25 copies, an entire brick of these CDs." And I said, "Why do you need so many CDs?" He says, "Me got a lot of family. Let the grandsons."
Wait. He didn't learn that trick from Cassie Phillips?
No.
Yeah. Your own shit.
Hush.
I'm the captain now.
The funny thing is Paul from Let's Go Bowling calls me up like after their tour with the Scatolites, and he's all, "Bro, how did you get the Scatolites to push your merch, man? He was selling at every damn show." And he was selling for like $40 a CD. They were international, like this is the best work I've ever done.
Yeah.
And
that was Roland
Alfonso.
I think he did that.
And you know what?
That with the Roland Alfonso's dub with Skank and Pickle. I have to talk to Mike about that.
Man,
I can see it happening.
it's crazy. I was a little bit pissed at first, and then Paul said, "How could you pay enough money to have a Scatolite pushing your album as the best album this year?" And I said, "Yeah, there's
$25
there's that."
Yeah, whatever you end up making off of it, you couldn't have paid him more than
Exactly. So I'm like, what? At the most, he made like $1,000 off of me, but that's cool. Like that's
how much
totally worth it. That's totally worth it.
You pay to have a Scatolite play on your album.
Well,
A Scatolite.
The thing is,
I'm not talking about somebody who's playing with a band called the Scatolites.
No. When he played for our album, he did get paid. He charged us a hot total of $200.
Well worth it.
scale. He did it at
And
scale.
he was in and out of the recording studio in about 12 minutes.
Nice.
Hey, you
That's how you do.
He walked in.
Hey, to quote Monkey, that's good. That's good money spent.
And then the brick of CDs that he sold for way later is like, it's golden. You can't.
It's amazing.
Touch that.
That I think might be the average what I paid Monkey for performance.
Oh, are you kidding me? You paid us $100. Fuck off.
Like an average.
No, Brian. That's what you think you got paid.
Yeah, no.
Wait, you guys got paid?
Here's your $40, guys.
I'm going to give you $200 in drink tickets. Here you go.
Yeah.
I've got $40 cash and $160 in exposure for you.
There you go. There you go.
I don't give you the exposure.
And do you have any CDs
no.
that you can sell?
No. Just to put it out there, I fought to make sure that you played that Slacker show.
You did.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, Middagh, you've done nothing but been good to us over the years, man. We love you. Yeah.
And you guys actually had a guarantee on that show. Slackers didn't.
Wow. Not too bad.
We'll have to talk to Dave Hilliard when he joins the show. He's going to be on next week.
Nice.
Was it the one at St. Stan's?
Was that St. Stan's? Yes.
Yeah, that was
the Impaler.
There's a lot.
They were supposed to play
A lot of good shows
up in Phoenix. Not at the Phoenix. What's the Mystic Theater up in Petaluma?
Yeah.
Mystic?
No,
They were supposed to play that.
Is that
And
the place? Is that the place that's like a youth
that's
place
the
that's
Phoenix.
just covered in graffiti?
That's
Phoenix.
the Phoenix.
Yeah. But the Mystic, they were supposed to play there.
With the ramps and
And
stuff.
Pantel never sent
Inside
the contract. Pantel never sent the contract, so they booked somebody else up there. So I get a call from Hilliard like 2 weeks before the show. It's a Friday night, looking to play. And so I was like, what do you need? He's like, we want a place to play.
Yeah.
Like, what if we just do it and give you the door and whatever you make? He's like, more than fair. So it worked.
That's
I
kind of
don't
what I
know
love
why
about
they had a
Slackers,
bad
man.
taste in their mouth about Monkey, or that was the discussion. I was like, no, Monkey's going to play. You know, they're great. They play here a lot. I mean, honestly, you had more draw on that one than Taylor's did because they'd never played Modesto.
Yeah.
Or Stockton or Manteca or Sonora.
Yeah, for sure.
Turlock.
Sure. Yeah, that's always. This is kind of why I wanted to get these discussions going, is because in the industry, when the industry is running, when it's well lubed, there's a lot of downtime for bands to think about, like, well, did this guy screw me over? How can we get more of an audience from this band? How can we tell the promoter that we brought all the people when they worked so hard? There's a lot of that going on, and I kind of want to get everybody on the same page, just talking to each other and realizing we're all fucking screwed. Like, this sucks. Like, why not come back instead of like individual people punching when we come back? Why don't we come back as a wall of people and just mow the entire music scene over? That's what I'm looking for, and so that's what I'm trying to do with these discussions, is get bands to talk to other bands and put away all that stupid shit.
And that's how you
Sure.
to be. I mean, when I started first working with Skank and Pickle, there was that network. Pickle in California. You had Mud Sharks up in the Reno area. You had Warsaw. You had Blue Meanies. You had MU330. You had Cherry Poppin' Daddies. All these bands with trade guarantees. So Pickle would be getting $2,500 for a show in the Bay, and MU330 would come out, get $200. Well, they'd walk away with half. Pretty much they'd go, okay, we got $2,700, split it in half.
Right.
So, but then when Pickle would play St. Louis or Chicago or somewhere else where they didn't have the draw at the time, they would be playing with these bands, and they'd split the combined guarantee,
which is how I know we know Curtis and Monkey to begin with, because there was a band in Boise, Idaho called the Mosquitones that brought them to Boise when we were 15, 17 years old, and then flash forward years later, and I just happened to run into Curtis at a bar in San Jose, and we've kept in touch ever since. See you, Brian.
But yeah, I mean, that's really, I thought that was great. And some bands do it. Some bands learn that you're at home, you don't need the money. A band's coming through, you give that to the touring band.
Doesn't
Yeah.
exist where I live. That's why I like playing with bands not in my state. There's none of that.
No, it's
here.
unfortunate.
Like none.
But that's how it used to be.
That's what I'm talking about, is that this is a moment for us while we're all screwed,
Right.
to start talking about how to make that happen in your community. You know what I mean? How to
That's the people. I mean, that's the thing. You got some guys that maybe are bigger headed than they should be, and they're like, "Hey, man, I worked hard to get this $2,500. You got to just work hard." It's like, well, shit. Here's the thing. So you could have all your $2,500 shows, and then nobody's going to book anything else, or they're not going to book you anymore, and then that whole scene's blown up. But like the idea, and it's very community, right?
It doesn't.
You got
to work if you don't tour.
you got to tour. You got to.
Nothing works if you don't tour.
No, but I'm just saying you could be the biggest fish in your pond, and okay, I play once a month and I get $3,000.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want to give that up if you're not going to go somewhere else. We've all seen. I've seen bands huge in one area, and they're like, "Well, we have 800 people show up to our show." Blah blah blah. Yeah, but you're coming to Modesto on a Tuesday. I'm not paying you what you get in Houston when that's where you're from. You've never toured out here. You don't have any distribution, even when things are good. You can't do that.
Yeah.
But if they're willing to set it up, hey, Monkey goes to Texas and plays with somebody, and they get a split. Curtis says, "Hey, you come out here, we'll hook you up. We'll make sure you get taken care of."
Early 90s in Santa Barbara, seeing Mighty Mighty Boss Jones at the Anaconda, which was a big room, and I think there were 30 people there.
I believe it.
And that's like, you know, they're huge in Boston. They're selling out the Middle East. They're selling out all over the Eastern Seaboard. And I'm like, fuck, these guys are great. They're going to be putting out a new album. They got Scott Cord, Devil and more. Let's see what happens. 30 people.
Well, yeah,
like,
when they came out to San Francisco, they sold out Slims, you know, on that tour. But same thing. It's like you're in certain areas, it's going to work.
Yeah.
Some areas.
Well, and there's something else that I've noticed in the last maybe 15 years or so is, and Middagh, I've been witness to 3 of your shows that I know of, and those have gone well. But around the country, I've noticed this weird phenomenon where it's no longer a promoter's job to promote a show.
Yes.
That
Like they book it, they set the date and where it's going to be, and then it's now on the bands to, if there's nobody at the show, it is solely the band's fault.
My town is
and
here.
they blame the locals on that. They blame the locals on that. And the thing is, we've all been at a show that it should be like you said, you know, there should have been more than 30 people at that Boston show at that period of time.
Even last year,
but it happened.
Dictators played in San Jose. The Dictators played in San Jose. The Dictators. There was 25 fucking people there.
Sure.
How's that work?
But I mean, honestly, and I'll give this to Curtis, Let's Go Bowling with Western Standard Time at the Ritz. There ended up being a good crowd, but ticket sales were awful leading up to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually,
put monkey on it. Did they ask you to join?
Well, yeah. Here's the inside scoop. We had approached the club about doing that show, a month or two out, and the club was like, they said, well, the bands are concerned because you're a local band and they're afraid that you're going to want like a big guarantee, yada yada. So I don't know if let's put this out there. It might be the club just trying to make a good conversation out of it, right? So I don't want to place any blame on any of the
Ask
bands.
Greg tomorrow.
But yeah, exactly.
No, Greg's not in the band.
Well, he would know. He played the show.
Yeah. It would have been Eaton though, but and I've talked to Eaton about it. He hasn't, he hasn't said anything. But anyway, with that being said, it was told to me that they thought that the bill was already packed with a lot of talent, and then if they got local on there, the local would want the money. And I told the club owner, hey, tell them we'll do it for free. We don't even care. And there was no response. And then a week out to the day, the club calls me up saying, oh my God, there's no tickets selling for this. Like, we know that sometimes bands do really low ticket sales, but then it doubles at the door. But we're looking at 13 tickets sold.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, give me 24 hours and a confirmation. And he said, I'm going to confirm you. I don't need to talk to them. The club owner did that. He's like, this needs to be fixed like right now. So I just got on and I did about 6 hours straight of just like bombing every single posting, reposts, all the sites, all the Instagram, all the Facebook, all the everything. And he's like, by the end of the weekend, so we were a week out. It was on a Friday, so it's the previous Friday. By the end of the weekend, I called him up and I said, how's the ticket sales? He's like, well, we're up to 113 now. And I'm like, okay, that's the power of positive marketing. Let's see what we can do before the show. And I think we probably pulled about 250 for that show.
Oh, yeah.
When all was done. So it was good.
For the size of the venue, it was not embarrassing.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
26 would have been embarrassing for that show.
Yeah,
sure.
Especially
a couple hundred at the Ritz. Yeah. That's okay. And that folded into the next.
We're talking about the new place, right? Not the old one.
Yeah.
26
people.
Okay. Yeah. Because 26 people in the old Ritz is like packed.
Yeah. In the new space. But going back to quote unquote promoters not promoting.
Blind Club. That's what.
Yeah. Promoters it's like they're in-house booking agents anymore. It's like they've
Well,
learned.
and that's but like I remember numerous times out working. I worked for a pretty decent sized fucking band, and we'd roll in, and there's the guy in charge of the venue's like, we've only sold like maybe 50 tickets for this, and I'm looking around going, well, I don't see one poster up for advertising the show. You've got a window full of posters, but I'm guessing that it's only other promoters that came in and put their posters up for their shows, not the one for this one. And everybody wonders why there's only fucking 50 tickets sold. A Facebook ad is not advertising for a show in your town.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
it's supplementary.
Since
this
is not the radio, what is it? I'm blanking on that. But there was a band. They sent out their flyers. They show up. All the flyers were up in the club.
Yeah,
and they knew that they went out probably because they were in the stalls. They were like they put them up that day. Oh, we forgot. Come on, and they sent posters out.
I got that almost beat. I've been to more than a handful of shows where I've gotten back where the show's gone off and it's like so-so, and the promoter's telling me that it's like, oh, we didn't do well, and why didn't you guys promote? And I've walked into the office and said, oh, look at this stack of posters that's sitting on the desk.
Didn't you?
Those are nice posters.
Well, like
that we paid to print and send and ship.
Yeah, put it in the fucking bathroom stall. I don't care. Like, put it somewhere. Someone gave it to you. All you need to do is have a roll of tape and put it up.
I mean, reading material for the bathroom stall is fire.
Yeah.
The least you can do is put it up in your own venue. The least you can do. But really, if you don't,
you know what I mean? Like, they don't have people who go, okay, I got all this shit for the show that's going to happen. I'm going to send my neighbor's kid out to blanket and staple it up on every. I don't do that anymore. Nobody does it.
Well, and the downside to that is you can't do that in most places anymore because you'll get arrested or ticketed for littering.
Oh no, for sure. But I mean,
so
being that I actually put up flyers and posters and such, I've gotten people annoyed because I carry pockets full of flyers when I go out. You see something, boom, it's right there. But if you go out, coffee shops, cafes, lots of places will allow you to put them up in there.
Sure,
comic book stores, so you can still hit places and put them up. They don't want you to put them up on the telephone poles and the light posts and all that. But that doesn't stop you from promoting it.
But what you're talking about takes.
Oh no, sure. I started doing Comic Cons, and so what I do, it's costing me nothing to give a ticket to some kid. You find 5 kids at high school at the different high schools and go, hey, here's a couple tickets.
Yeah.
Here's a stack of flyers. Give them out to your friends.
Yeah.
I got the band geeks at the different high schools because I'm putting on shows. Hey, can you ask the band teachers to throw this up there, the drama teacher? These are your audiences. It doesn't take, I said this in a college lecture once. It's not rocket science. It's rock and roll. It doesn't take much to get out and do that.
Yeah.
If your poster's not up a week before the show at least the 2 regular shows you have in town, you're missing the point. Because your audience is right there.
So allow
me super like not virtual and not like it's a real old school tangible thing. You walk in somewhere and see the fucking poster, but it still honestly still works, and it's still more like that, like visceral.
Have a flyer in hand. So it's a reminder.
Exactly.
So allow me to share with you what I do in really big shows when I want a show to just absolutely go off. We have a local newspaper called the Metro. It's a free newspaper. They have bins, right, that they put at every corner in downtown San Jose and all throughout the South Bay. If you know where those bins are, they change them out at midnight on Wednesday so that Thursday morning you get a fresh paper, right? So on Wednesday evening at midnight, follow the truck and go to each one of these bins, open them up, and flyer in every one of the newspapers. And I do that for the entire night until morning. Then the next night that I'm available to promote, I go down to the Meridian a movie theater, which is a gigantic multiplex movie theater, right? A movie is 1.5 hours long, right? 1.5 to 2 hours long. It takes you 1.5 to 2 hours to flyer an entire parking lot. So we would flyer, stop, and then eat, and then come back to the other end of the parking lot and flyer, stop, and then call our friends, see if there's anything going on. No, nothing going on. Go back, third time swipe, flyer. We would put a flyer on every single car under every single windshield wiper.
I can definitely attest to this.
Yes, we've done it. Brian has done it many times with us.
You son of a bitch.
But that's how you do it. That's how you do it. Everyone gets it. Everyone's like, okay, there's a million things on my Facebook, but I have this piece of paper and it's still in my pocket for some reason.
Us doing that is the only reason that Monkey was selling out our big shows when ska wasn't shit in the mid-2000s in San Jose, California.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nobody wanted to go to a ska show, but we made them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Made them.
and also, it's not that they didn't want to; they just didn't know about them half the time. So people stopped doing them because other people weren't doing it. It got to that point in the, as you said, late '90s, 2000s, where, I'm a promoter. Okay, I got you 4 bands on here. Okay, you all need to sell, 50 tickets for this show. So you got 3 bands touring, 5 bands opening up. Those 5 bands are all selling, supposedly selling 50. If they sell 40, you got 200 people there.
Yeah.
Oh, look what I did. No, you're not promoting.
That's still that formula is still very commonplace.
Oh,
in certain
yeah, the pay stuff.
And it's terrible. It's a terrible. I literally, there was an outside promoter who did a few shows at Plea for Peace, and he had Dance Gavin Dance once, and the guys in Dance Gavin Dance were complaining about the room they played in, which was the same room that Alkaline Trio played 2 nights before, and their manager was there, of course, with them. He begged to come to the Alkaline Trio, no, not Alkaline, Against Me show, and he said, I saw Against Me here, and it was the greatest show of my life because they were 6 inches off the floor. It was a small room at Plea for Peace. And he goes, if you can't appreciate this and your fans can't appreciate this, fuck you, I quit. And they're like, what? He goes, I'm just telling you. And he goes, you're not going to have the same number of people here as Against Me had on Monday. No. It was a Wednesday, right before Christmas. I was doing them a favor to put them on the show. But the band that opened or had supported, quote unquote, sold 50 tickets. They had 2 fans there. 2 people showed up to see them.
Yeah.
Because they bought tickets. So nobody came in to see them, but they wanted to support Dance Gavin Dance on the show. So it was like there might have been 80 people at the show, but it was because the method doesn't work.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a little bit of money, or mom and dad will pay for it. Okay, you got an empty show, but the promoter walked away with some cash, or the headlining band made some money. Well,
yeah.
They made money off of that one show, but they didn't sell any merch because there was nobody
even have that formula in my area. We have the oh, you want to play? Well, let's see how many people walk in the door on that day. See you then. Yeah. Like that's what we got here, and it fucking sucks. Like I'm a young dude, and I play with you guys, and I hear all these stories, and I'm like, oh, so the world that people pretend is just on TV and media exists. So when people ask me about shows here, I'm like you guys don't even know. There's a whole nother culture out there that you guys have no idea about. I just don't even want to say anything because then I'm just an asshole. But there's shows and people here. There's shows here, and people are like, oh, I don't know there's shows. It's like, well, that's your fault for not realizing that there's plenty of venues that have 3 or 4 shows a week that you can just go to.
Yeah,
and one of them, you can have delicious Chinese food while watching a punk rock band.
You can just go get food, instead of just
But going back,
I only do time.
To what Curtis says, what I said, it's also a lack of people just not letting these people know what's happening. I mean, at a certain point, if you're, if the promoter's not doing his job, the club's not doing their, at least the basic job, then the bands really need to step up. And it's not. It's everybody. I always say, a good show, and it doesn't matter if it's 1,000 people, 10,000 people, or 50 people. It's a stool. If the bands suck,
Yeah.
It's lopsided. The people aren't. You could have got people out there. Could be a packed, sold out club, great everything, ambient sound, whatever. But if the band sucks, those people are not going to come back. At a certain point, they're just not coming back. If nobody comes out to see the band, it could be the Skylights, Madness, and the Special playing a show, and there's 5 people there. The show kind of sucks. As a fan, I'm loving it, but it's not a good show. Lopsided. The promoter, the venue doesn't do their job to get the word out, make it a happy place, greet the people coming in, greet the bands, treat the bands right. I mean, me and Curtis have a friendship above and beyond any working relationship because I respect what he's doing, he respects what we do, and we keep it up going. And we just keep working at it. That's the thing with Dave calling me up, like, hey, can you help me out? No, a guarantee is not necessary because of that relationship. Going back to Donkey Show.
Right.
These are things that, you have to develop, and have to keep working on. And everybody does know sometimes it's, it's a last minute show. You put it on, it may not be great. But as long as
sometimes a clunker is a clunker.
Oh,
and
sometimes if the band plays their heart out and you got 5 people there, I used to say, use Skank and Pickle as a reference. They played a show in the South. It was raining. There was 3 people there. The door guy who ran sound, the bartender, and 1 person who showed up to see the show, who risked the rain and the torrential thing. And Skank and Pickle,
that sounds like most of my shows.
But Skank and Pickle busted their ass. And this was when Mike Manley was still in the band and Lynette was in the band, and they just killed it. Those 3 people bought merchandise of those CDs on cassette for their friends. The guy who owned the place called up Bondi the next time they're coming through, and he's like, hey, whatever. He's like, dude, there was nobody there. I got records. There was 1 person paid. He's like, no, whatever the guarantee, I'll give them a hotel room. I have people clamoring for this band because those people just told the story about the circus that they put on. Years later, a friend of mine, Jocelyn, who's a classical guitarist, was on a tour with some punk and metal bands. She goes by Radical Classical. She got bumped from the show because she wasn't hardcore metal enough for the show. So her husband, who was a tour manager, booked her at a bar, dive bar. Her and then some pop punk band that was also got bumped from the tour. They played there. There's 2 guys at the bar the entire time, backs to the stage, drinking. She's performing. He says she's played just like it. She goes, I played with more fire because I was pissed off because these guys wouldn't even turn around and look at me. She plays her set. After the show, they come up. She's a very attractive blonde girl. Tells her how great she is. She goes, oh, that was so great. Why didn't you turn around once and clap? They go, we didn't want to be the creepy old guys with the shitting and grins on our face because of how good you were. What is it going to take for us to sponsor you? Mm-hmm. They were executives at Fender. Mm-hmm. She is sponsored by Fender now. The guys who used to make the electric guitars for Randy Rhoads are now making her classical guitars for her. And of course,
always be nice.
But nice. She played with fire. She played the show that she played. She goes, okay, there's 2 people there. Okay, I'm going to play to them.
Yep.
Like I'm playing to 100. And she's played with Pearl Jam and does these other like massive things, done festivals in South America. And she's playing to 2 old guys who wouldn't even turn around. Yeah. But it was the right place, the right time. And she sold it.
But I think
that's the thing.
That's kind of
shows with the greatest bands, and they just kind of like, and they phone it in.
But I think, honestly, that's the thing where if it's a good band and you play your heart out, like Monkey's a great example. Brian was saying, the 2000s, no one would see Monkey. But guess what? The people who did see Monkey saw actual Monkey because Monkey didn't stop being Monkey in the 2000s. They just, it's like, oh, fuck, we're going to do this week. Well, Monkey's probably playing. I'll probably go see Monkey. You know what I mean? But the thing is that's where you get your fans from the small fan base that's already there, or the people that are just covering it. And if you just keep cranking it out and doing the right thing, you're gonna get that fan for life type fan.
You're not walking away from a Monkey show going,
and that's been my experience with Monkey for the last 17 years that I've been associated with this band. It doesn't matter if it's 3, 30, 300, or 3,000. Like, we bring the same show. You get the same show. You get the same fucking show. You get all the fire, you get all the nerdiness, you get all the everything. and that's the bands that I associate myself with. Like I've been out with the Bruce Lee Band. I've been out with the Barstool Preachers. I've been out with the Deans, and these are all bands that have the same mantra. It doesn't matter if it's 330, 300, or 3,000. You get the same show,
Rock and roll.
and that's what creates this base for these bands.
Sure.
Yeah,
And that's
Absolutely.
like,
that happened to us a few years ago. We were doing a tour. We drove all the way, the farthest out spot on that particular tour, we drove all the way to Billings, Montana to play at a record store. And one dude showed up. One skinhead ska dude showed up. And I told the bands, like, you know, if this was 20 years ago and I still thought of myself as a serious artiste, I wouldn't. That guy wouldn't have played. That guy took himself so fucking serious that this would have been an insult, and he would have stayed in the van and been a bitch about it, and then ruined any chance of ever going back to Billings, Montana. Flash forward to this band, and we not only played the show, we had a blast because we made everything about this one dude that showed up.
Yeah.
We threw his name into songs, everything. So just like you guys were saying, this one guy, the sound guy, and the owner of the record store were the only three people there, and we still sold like $85 worth of merch.
Yes.
And gained three friends. I don't like using the word fans. We gained three new friends for life. This guy has moved from Billings, Montana. He lives out in Pittsburgh now, and I still keep in touch with him.
Yeah.
But
And
saying,
saying
friends, and that's how you create those friends that do it.
yeah.
Like I said, me and Curtis are friends because of a relationship, you know, that we built through music. You know, I mean, most of our friends just in general are through music, regardless. Going to shows, seeing shows, meeting people at shows, because there's that common interest.
What's up, Josh?
Common love. And, you know, you have fans that just come to your show and leave. But your friends, those are the ones who drag their friends to come out to the show.
Yeah,
Friends are the ones
but
who
I'll
help
tell you
promote your
this
show.
though, even the people that show up and watch and then split.
Oh no,
I still appreciate them. You know what I mean?
Oh, no.
Like,
Mad love for anybody who shows up to a live show, especially on an off night, because there's more off nights than, you know, prime nights. But, you know, the ones that you become friends with, and, you know, and every person in the audience can be a friend, you know, and build on that. You know, it's amazing, you know, like, you know, Mike's 50th birthday party there at the bottom of the hill. That was his friends there. You know? And these are friends flying from all over the world to come see his show, you know, or be there. You know, he had to do 2 nights. He could have done 3 nights.
Man, that was a great fucking show. It was a great show.
But, Brian, was that the night that we were in town playing somewhere else?
No, you guys weren't around. That was the Bruce Lee Band shows last November.
He rented 2 clubs, and they were like 3 or 4 blocks away from each other.
That was for the
That was 8-Man Records 20 years.
Yeah,
no, that was 20 year
birthday.
So Mike's 50th birthday party was the Bruce Lee Band shows last November.
With Slow American and Jeff Rosenstock Band.
And I played those shows.
No, they were great shows. They were great shows. I mean, both nights were good. I only went to the second night, but that was phenomenal. And it's just see these people. I mean, freaking Jimmy Doyle flying out, you know, from New Jersey, and all these people, you know.
That first night we had Andrew Jackson Jihad on. It was absolutely insane. Like, Joyce Manor and Andrew Jackson. Like, come on, like. Those guys sell out the Bill Graham.
Back to
those are the kind of shows that they're playing with Mike, and nobody knew who was playing. Well, I knew who was playing both shows, and I picked the second night because there's a ska. But the bands, you know, Andrew Jackson Jihad was not making the same kind of. Joyce Manor's not the same. Jeff Rosenstock, none of those. Nobody playing those shows were making the same kind of money if they just did their own show. But because they're friends with Mike, and they wanted to be there for it.
Eric, you were going to say something?
Yeah, back to what I was like kind of saying. You guys branched off on like as a young dude, I went through like the classical world. I didn't learn any of the shit that you guys just said. Like, like it's great. like that's why I love playing with like I call myself a pirate freelancer. You know, someone who just jumps on a ship and learns from captains like Curtis. We even had a joke on the last tour about him being a captain. You know, like, and that's how I treat it, because I was a captain and I was like, oh, I'm a young guy. I'm just a classical trained guy with some jazz chops. Like I don't know fucking shit about band leading. So I thought I didn't know anything. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to jump on some ships like with Curtis. I've been jumping on that ship with Lady Hatchet. Like the reason I play with different bands is to soak it up, because I feel like I'm still kind of missing something, because you guys have had the years on the dirt. It's like, what do you guys think? Do you think like a little bit more pirate ship time is good, or just hit the pavement as a captain?
I
what
will
do you
tell
guys
you
think?
this, if you haven't already, every show you play with these guys, get the contact information of the local promoter, the club. You know, get that information. People don't do that.
Yeah, I do my
see
best.
bands go out
The
and
best
they're
thing
doing
you can do-
amazing tours as a support band or opening band, and they don't collect any of that information. Somebody else booked that tour, but you have that information now available.
Yeah.
And I mean, I did merch with a lot of bands. Every time I'd go out to do it, I'd collect the information because I knew people. So, you know, here I am, you know, back home, and somebody calls up and says, "Hey, we lost a show in, you know, Los Cruces, New Mexico. Do you know anybody?" "Oh, well, I was just on tour with Les and Jake. Let me look. Oh, here's the information." You know,
I've been doing a little bit of
you
that.
know, but do it.
Not as much as I should. Like you're
Every
saying,
show.
like I've been kind of half doing it, because some of the tours they just beat your ass a little
No,
bit,
but
and you just kind of
make
want to smoke and go
it
eat a
happen.
little bit.
Yeah,
You
but
know?
it only takes 5 minutes to find out who put on
Yeah.
the show and get their phone number.
It's true.
Make
I
a
just-
habit of it.
But-
write it
I feel
down.
like a little
more so-
crackhead sometimes. Like, hey, do you know who booked the show, man?
Well, even if-
like,
even if-
like,
You talk to the person in the band. You know, you're helping them out.
Yeah.
If they give that information to you. I mean, it's nice when there's a tour log and all that information's in it that you get to take home with you, but get that information. You know, anybody watching this, if you're out there, you play a show. I mean, I've seen bands show up because they've gotten added to a show. You know, Curtis, you know, like Franks and Deans, if we would have done that show, I'm betting you know, we would have connected and all that, because that's how I am. But
Oh,
I've known people who told me, I've
we
been
haven't
playing,
worked together, and I'm surprised we don't already know each other.
like I've known people who go, I've been you know, doing shows for 20 years, and I've never met the promoter from a show I've done until I met you. I'm like,
Right.
How is that possible? Or the person who booked, you know, not even the promoter, the person who booked,
Right.
they show up to some place, and it's just, oh, okay, you play over there, blah, blah, and it's just people working there. And I'm
That's
like,
it.
I've not been to, I think, 2 shows that I've done. One was for my dad's funeral, and the other was I was sick as a dog. So I had somebody, or actually 3. Third one was I had a hip hop show at Plea for Peace, and Greg Ginn hit me up for a show. They played with Narboots at the Blackwater, and I was like, that's not going to be an insane show. The hip hop show could go either way, especially in downtown Stockton. So I had somebody at the other show. But other than that, I've been at every show.
Yeah.
You know,
More to answer your question a little bit more, Eric. I think coming from somebody who I've been a hired gun in a band. I've been the leader of the band. I've been the tour manager. I've been a roadie. I've been in the support act. You know, what have you. Any experience is going to be good for you. Just soak up every bit of information that you can. If there is somebody that you're on tour with that has been doing this for 20 years longer than you have, ask them fucking questions.
yeah.
But that's but that goes
I picked
that
Curtis's
only goes into
brain a little bit, but not as much as I should have probably.
I'm not in Curtis's band, and I've spent 15 hours picking his brain.
Hey, for anybody who's watching this,
And Curtis loves to hear himself talk. So
no.
Not very long enough. He'll give you the special herbs and spices recipe for his.
there's only
in all
7. There's only
in all
7.
honesty,
Curtis has been lying about the 11.
in all honesty, if you are in a band and you're watching this this either live or post, please reach out to me. Please reach out to any of these guys. We'll help you. We'll help you. Just reach out to us. Oh well, maybe not.
Leave us alone.
But I will back up what.
It's not that I don't want to share the information. I just don't want to talk to anyone.
What you do is that they reach out to you, give them Curtis's number. Tell him he's up at 3 in the morning.
Okay. Let me share something. This is an old Skanga Pickle one. Mike Park from Skanga Pickle, of course, goes on and creates Asian Man Records, and he has this thing where Fat Mike always kind of gives him shit for being the ska guy, right? I guess. And so he put on his website, if you have a demo tape, please send it to me at fatrecords.com. Fat Mike. And it's still that way. He's like, 20 years of looking up there.
Oh, that's so good.
Best inside joke ever. Like Fat Mike used to call him up and go, "Yeah, I've got another bucket of fucking tapes if you want them." He's like, "No, I don't want them."
I've met those two in separate occasions in the last couple of years, and I can't even imagine seeing those two speak to each other.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This is some
That'd be a good time.
Fucking characters, like the most unique characters I've ever met.
For sure.
I think I might pay money to see that conversation.
That's in a social setting.
Yeah.
Get Mike in a house. Next thing you know, the bathroom door's open. He's inviting you back. Hi. How are you? Mike, you're on the toilet. What's going on? I just wanted to say hi.
Hey.
True story. More than one.
Yeah. I need a nap and a slice of pizza now.
Yeah. I've been reaching out to like meeting people at shows and stuff. I mean, I met Jordan and we linked up when he came through my town, I feel like I lived in a college town for a while where once you hit 24, 25, you're an old man, but like in the real world, that's not fucking true because I start like meeting everybody and then everyone's like, "Damn, you're a fucking child, dude." Yeah, you're a whole ass child. Yeah. Like I tour with the Scotch Bonnet, and they're like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "I'm the sax player." They're like, "Where the fuck did you come from?" Like everyone is just like, "What the fuck?" But like, it's a good icebreaker. It actually works out.
Yeah.
It breaks the ice really well with everybody. But it's
dude. Like
a wild seas out there.
You're lucky being like where you are at the age you are, because I started really, really young. I started working concerts when I was 13, and like with as much as I progressed, earlier in my life than a lot of people, musicians and whatnot, you've got a fucking. You're getting, I don't want to say you're getting handed things because you're definitely working for it, but you're in a real good spot, Eric. So get a little black book and just start writing down everything you hear,
Yeah, that's kind of how I've been. I've just been like soaking in everything. Just like, I feel like sometimes people just chalk it up to me being stoned, but like, I'm just in the conversation like, I'm just listening because, like I said, I've talked to so many classical musicians who talk out of their ass. That too, but people, like a lot of classical musicians who talk about gigs, and it's like that's a different word to you, like it's a different world, and like I've been around that so long that anybody else, I'm like, oh shit, like okay, that's why I hit up Curtis. I was like, "Hey, you guys need a sax player?" Found what was it, $75, like a $75 plane ticket. Just like, dude, let's figure something out, And I ended up meeting, just snowballing it, just for the shits and giggles, just because I know it's, people want like, "Oh, I went to college for music. I need a career and a paycheck handed to me." It's like.
Not gonna happen.
No.
Well, and you two, and
great. I really hope you have a job in sales.
Like, nah, dude.
I can't count how many guys that were supposed to make it that are like now or Remo Drummond, that kind of thing. There's lots of people that become salesmen and become teachers and get married and stuff.
Lighting designers.
Yeah, it's not the lifestyle for everyone, for sure.
I always tell people it takes a certain sick kind of individual to be on the road.
Yep.
Like
that's so many people drop off and drop off and drop off. There's certain times where it's amazing when you see bands 50 years later and most of the original members.
Yep.
It's like that's not the case. If Bucket was here, it's Bucket and some kids.
Yeah.
Especially touring. It's like that's it.
Monkey is a little bit has a little bit of a special thing going on just because Kurt kind of lucked out with Micah being the third drummer and him being in the band for over 20 years now. Yeah. He kind of also lucked out. I've been back and forth a few times now in the band, but I got 17 years in this band now. That's a long friggin' time.
I have
but that
3 years in Monkey.
You come across these bands that have been together 5 years, and it's we're on our fifth drummer, we're on our fourth bass player. We can't keep horn players to save our life. It's the lead singer, but then we got rid of him after 3 years, and now we have a new lead singer, and it's just
Los hooligans.
I get what you're saying, but I really think that my personal opinion on that is kind of just depends. You can't make a blanket assessment of that because it just depends on who wrote who's writing the songs, who's the creative force behind it. If it is the one guy and he keeps changing out band members, if the product is still good, that's fine. But if you're seeing people that if you're seeing bands that just are eking it out and not creating anything new, not giving a shit anymore, and this guy's on his fifth drummer, and that drummer knows that this is his last tour, and you know what I mean? When you get to that point, if a band gets to that point, my opinion is fucking stop. You're cheating. Yeah. You're cheating. The people that are paying money to come see you, you're defrauding them.
Oh, for sure.
That's my opinion. But if you got a band,
I was gonna say Toasters.
Go ahead.
Great band, always great players with them. But it has got It's Bucket. But it is his band. He's the one who's been the constant singer and all that. A few years back, I booked the Vibrators. It was a drummer. I'm like, and by the time they got to Modesto, and they were complaining, it was people had gotten, because we're on the internet now. People go, yeah, Vibrators suck. It's just a drummer. They had some California kid playing guitar. I can't remember their name. Canadian Irish punk band bass player. The guy was legit great players, but they were not the Vibrators. When you get down the time before, it was 3 of the 4 original players, and they had the guitars from the members. Which was a contemporary. Fine. But if you're out there and you're the drummer, and I don't care if you've been in it, you've written songs. Hey, Vinny, you're the drummer from Less Than Jake. You're the, wrote all the lyrics. You can't go out as Less Than Jake, with some kids. It's not going to work. You're Joe Queer from the Queers. Yeah, you can go out and sing and play guitar and have.
There's got to be somebody in the front line. There's got to be somebody in the front line.
Mike Parks could technically probably pull off going out and Skeng and Pickle, and people would go see him. And as long as he had good players, be happy to see him play those songs.
Yeah. No, totally.
Yeah.
It's that difference. But I was going as these bands that it's a special person. How many people have had the job for 17 years, same job, with the same people? Not saying, hey, I'm going out and I'm doing, the same career, but the same job, same place, 9 to 5.
Most people aren't even married for 17 years.
Let alone 20, 25,
Yeah.
So, you and Mike have been married for 20 years.
Yeah.
Music relationship.
It's that difference, and it's a special bond that you get with certain people.
Oh, absolutely.
That you play with them again and again, night after night. And we've all seen, especially starting off bands, that first tour.
Make or break.
people are idiots. They go, "Hey, I'm going to go out for 6 weeks." We've never toured together. We've never lived together. Dude, you're crammed in a van forever. Somebody's quitting the band by the time you get back. Somebody's walking away.
Oh yeah.
Or you're leaving somebody at a rest stop on purpose because
Try going to a different country.
Oh yes.
Different country. The farther they get away from home, they're like, I am 4,000 miles away from home, and you're gonna start this kind of shit. I'm out.
Yeah.
We play with a band that will remain nameless, but so because I'm gonna just leave them nameless.
Because we're positive. We think positively.
We think positive, but it's just like.
But why though?
It's not mad shit about them without them knowing.
It's a prime example of like that like band that has never been out before that like doesn't know how to exist on the road together. Where like Monkey was on the road for like 2 or 3 weeks at this point in time, and they met up with us in Seattle, and they had driven from the Greater Bay Area directly to Seattle. And we've been out on the road for a while at this point in time. And like we're at the venue, and like they pull up and they all jump out of the car and they're like ready to just murk each other. They've been on the road for 15 hours tops, straight drive to Seattle, and they all like hop out and like they're like 8 or 9 members, like they all just first they go into the wind, and like the guitar player is left to like unload the van. And he's sitting there just like he's commiserating. He's just like, oh my God, this thing, you know, and this guy had this thing go. And then all of a sudden, like the horn players started beating each other up in the back seat, and we don't even know what the fuck is going on, and nobody knows. And I think we just need to play a set and like get the lead out and get on the road. And as he's saying this, he opens up the trailer. And the trailer is the inside. All the gear and everything is completely coated in maple syrup. Because the trumpet player decided he needed to make pancakes every morning on the road. So he brought a gallon glass jug of maple syrup and put it in the fucking trailer.
So everybody's shit is
already out.
Oh my God, no!
He's got a bag, big ass bag.
Who the fuck makes pancakes on tour?
Yeah, right.
Okay, fine. It was the Soul Captains. Anyway.
I'm just saying, if they don't ruin the equipment, I'll go out on the road with somebody who's making pancakes every day.
Hell yeah. That's what I love about tour. It brings everything to the surface. No matter what happens, like people stop sleeping, stop eating, like drinking water. Like you turn into an animal, and like I've noticed it's different. It's different.
It was this prime example of like a super phenomenal band. They're like, we played local shows with them all the time, and they were super chill, and they were just cool cats, really good stuff. But the second they get on the road, the whole thing just falls apart, and they're ready to murder each other off of one drive from Richmond, California to Seattle, Washington. They can't even stand each other by the end of that drive. And then to top it off, the entire thing is they had to like use all our gear that night so they can clean up their own stuff. It was just like, oh my God. And like all of us were just like, we're gonna go have a beer. We're so sorry.
We're so sorry. We're gonna coexist.
And you know, we were starting to hit our wall at that point in time, because you hit walls on the road. You get to like 2 or 3 weeks, and you're just like, hey, fuck you. At that point in time, and like we were kind of getting there, and we saw that, and like all of us went in, sat down, and we're just like, we love you guys so much. We have it so easy, guys. We love you so much.
Oh, dude.
That's literally when I go to the other band, and I'm like, it's all right. It's all right. It's right. Oh, it's all right. That's right. Check it out. Yeah, there's syrup everywhere. I mean, at least it's delicious, right? It's delicious.
At least your guitar is delicious.
Listen to that. Yeah. smells really tasty.
So mad. I'd be throwing saxophones.
Well, and
Yeah, but you're not going to throw it very far because it's stuck to your hand.
Oh man! And the band, the rest of the band had no idea what was going on. Was it Chad? I think it was Chad was in that band, right? Oh no, it was Vic. Vic Long. He was the one opening up, and everybody else has gone away, and he just opens it up and looks inside and shuts it back.
Oh man, it's hilarious. Hey,
It is.
Usually I read some of the comments from the feed, but there's not a lot of comments, even though there's been a lot of people watching over the night. But we've been really like locked in this conversation. It's been a great conversation. I knew it was going to be awesome because these are all friends here. We're well past the hour. If you guys want to talk some more, we can continue talking. But I did want to make mention of one comment. Alan Carter of Squid Hat Records says, Haas and Curtis on the same video. Well, there goes that theory. which I almost agreed to, except for the fact that I've been mistaken for Middagh Goodwin right here. This man, many times, he's been mistaken for me so many times because he used to wear thick ass horn rims like this. So Middagh Goodwin, what do you think?
Yeah. One of my favorite stories is Nan Coffey, who a lot of people know now because she does the art all over. She did the hometown throwdown stuff.
I got a real nice print of hers that I'm looking at on the wall right now.
So Nan comes out to a show that I booked in Modesto. I was living in Stockton, but for Curtis, at a place called the Dirty Duck. Cop bar during the day, punk rock bar at night. And she walks up to Curtis and asks if she'd seen me yet. I was running late because I was driving down from Stockton. And Curtis snapped at her. Said, I'm not fucking Middagh. She goes, I know. I'm asking if you've seen him tonight. Well, I believe it was with the articles at the show who had played the night before in Stockton with me.
Yes.
And then, or 2 nights before in Stockton with me, then played with Monkey in San Jose. And one of the guys walked up to Curtis and wanted to continue our conversation, thinking that he was me. So the worst thing is, hey, I'm doing these shows, and sometimes they're playing with Monkey's playing in Stockton, but a lot of times, hey, Monkey's playing, or some bands, hey, it's a Stubborn All-Stars playing Stockton, then they're playing San Jose with Monkey, or whatever. So they're, or vice versa, So
I've had so many bands walk up to me. You know the show.
That's I get that. I get that one too, because no matter what venue I go to, people think I'm the bouncer.
Hello, my name is Curtanis.
Yeah, but that's spelled with A-N-U-S.
Anus, yeah. Anus is the last name. It's my surname.
Curtanis.
But you can imagine that them hitting one San Jose or Stockton or the area, and we're big guys with goatees and glasses. Now we're both big guys with goatees, glasses, and balding heads. But
and we're about the same height too. But I think I got like a half an inch on you.
Yeah. But you got gray much earlier than me.
Yeah. Well, I just went shock white. I just passed the gray.
But so often that was the case. But I love the fact that Nan came up and she told me, like, Curtis snapped at me. I'm like, what? Why did you do that? He thought I thought he was you. And I'm like, well, that's happened sometimes. He goes, but I knew it was Curtis. They played my sister's wedding.
Middagh, you met before we went live. You had mentioned the name Bill Coffey, and so I knew him through doing those shows with Rev. And last year, I bought a couple of Nan's prints, and I commented on something. I didn't know that there was any relation. I had no fucking clue. So he pops in and he's like, hey, Haas, that's my sister. Thanks for supporting her art. And I was like, oh, shit. Everything comes full circle.
Right? Oh, it's funny. It's like she just did the the Fishbone print, or the Angelum print. But it's like back in the day, her first Boston show was with me and Bill. Here,
That's
jump
awesome.
many years later, and she's doing art with them, collaborating, and doing all this stuff.
Nice.
And it's great. I mean, she's doing a ton of
Dude,
great stuff.
she is crushing. Her art is so good.
It's like, unfortunately, Josh, her husband, is out of work because he works at Valley High there in San Diego, a restaurant bar, not open. So it is so great that she's able to do this stuff and has gotten to that point where it's sustainable.
Wow.
Yeah. Good.
They are continuing to do it, making it by doing what they're doing, and not stressing. Because it was a point where she did her art, she was doing some bookkeeping and other stuff, but it was like Josh, being a manager over at Valley High, was making the money. That was what they survived.
Do you know if she,
on. So it's and she did sell art here and there and did stuff, but it has definitely in the last few years, and thanks to that connection. Dickie, it was one of those things. Dickie saw some art on a friend's page that she did, contacted her, they started talking, and then they collaborated on the first Dickie print, and then next thing you know, it's a big secret, but she's working on the Hometown Throwdown stuff.
Nice.
Right.
Did she do the artwork for the Boston's UK tour last year?
It might have. I don't know. I hadn't seen it, but I mean, if it was some, the stuff that she did for those suits, the white suits with all the art on it, she's done a lot of.
She's got a pretty distinct style.
Yeah. I mean, now she's doing a heart all over, which are hearts all over the art, or doing it with hearts as the art. But I mean, she has some distinct stuff that she's doing, and
I'll have to take a look. I got a poster at the very last show, the Boston show, and got all the Bostons and all the Barstool preachers to sign it. So, and it's a pretty cool poster.
Something that she did, because they've embraced her and they've done a lot of stuff. She did. I don't know if it's going to be on the new Boston's album, but she did heart all over pieces for all the members of the band, and then the Tim Armstrong and the other producer. So there's this series that she did. Once again, able to sell them, make some money off of it. Recently with Angela Moore, she's worked with members of the Specials and other people, and it's great to see that where it's like more and more and more out there.
Yeah,
and just her other prints. I mean, I don't need to sell it.
Yeah, the reason I even found out about her is she did this really great Rat Pack kind of I hate to say this, but it's kind of in a Shag type.
No. She's
style.
friends. I know she's her and Shag are friends or acquaintances.
Yeah, I don't want to compare them as artists, but that's how I found out about her, and then I started going through her stuff, and I see all this Boston's artwork and whatnot. She's fucking great.
Nice. Hey, Middagh. Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, that's badass.
Nice.
Really cool poster pop looking stuff. Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Sweet.
Nice.
Hey, Middagh, can you? This is a moment where we're. I encourage anybody that's watching this program to reach out to anybody and start making things happen between artists and between our musicians and whatnot. With that being said, Middagh, if you can introduce us online, because I'm going to be an artist behind the art episode of this show. I've already got Duel. I've got a couple other people involved. We're gonna have like a discussion about how to present art when it's a band nature. So
nice, for sure. But
Kurt, I just tagged her page in the comments.
Awesome. Fantastic.
And she'll remember you, like I said. You did
Nice.
you did her sister's wedding, so it's all good. But I'm going to throw out the plug right now.
There we go.
I've been doing This Is Ska radio for the last year here locally, 95.5 FM. But as of yesterday, I'm going to be aired on 2 stations in the UK I think Australia, and there's about eight other stations across the U.S. that are looking to pick it up. So
Nice.
No pun intended, but I'll take that pun. Pick it up. I want to take over the Ska Parade. I want to be the show. But anybody out there, if you got music, especially if it's radio friendly, all genres of ska, I'm playing it on the show. But it does air.
And the show is called.
At least
the show is called.
This is Ska. This is Ska Radio at Facebook.
Nice.
But so you're gonna.
Nice. If you
What format? What format do you need that in?
You've linked up with Housebound Ska Collective, right?
Those guys are great.
I played some of the stuff on there. But yeah, literally this week, 2 UK stations are going to be in. I'm doing a 2-hour show for them. But the first hour I aired locally on a terrestrial station, FM, so FCC has to, approve it. And I'm hoping to get on more terrestrial FM, AM stations just to get it out there. No shows going on. Man, how am I going to promote the music I love and still be out there? So, I was doing a locals only show on the station. I said, hey, I don't care what time you throw the show on, but can I do a ska show?
Yeah.
And they're like,
hey, is Brian frozen for you guys? Because he's making a funny face.
Yeah.
I think he's frozen. Now he's smiling now.
You mentioned Housebound Ska Collective. I'm watching their videos and watching how that, what they're doing and the covers and just the absolute talent that goes into that. That's how good it is. You know what I mean? Like,
Did you guys know I'm the tenor sax player, right? On that.
Well,
yeah, okay. I was making sure. I was like, wait.
I was talking to somebody today.
Before we start talking shit.
Yeah. Before you touch.
Format. Way.
They'd be a great band if it wasn't for that tenor sax player.
The
man.
tenor player blows.
It's really cool to see because a couple of these episodes ago we talked about how music's going and digitally and how bands are coping that are not in the same location to play and stuff. And that the format is really cool. Like everybody's in their living room or in a garage somewhere, and you're passing it around, and you make this song, and it's super cool. You just turn on your computer and start playing. I guess I don't know. You tell me. But and videoing.
COVID changed the game. It's all interfaces. Yeah. It's all like this is my computer mic. Like I use stage mics. I'm all set up. And I learned that all during COVID. I didn't know that shit. I just had YouTube and time, and I was like, let's fucking go. And that band started with a Facebook post on, I think it was the What Do You Know About Ska Punk page. It was like, hey, I need people for this band, and we're all like, hey, let's go. I vaguely
remember this, yeah.
That's where that started, and now we have 8 songs. We're getting good traction. One of our videos did do really well. Our next video is so ridiculous. I don't know what people are even going to say about it, because it's not even it's not a cover of a song that you would normally do. So I'm just going to leave it at that. It's coming out at the end of the...
Technology is where that you can do that, which 20 years ago it wasn't.
Right.
And it's amazing that bands are doing it. I mean, you think about John Roy's, the New Normal Collaborative.
Yeah.
Once again, here's guys from all over the spectrum, or Andy, doing his album where he's reaching out to people all over. And I know he started where he was actually going to people's houses or places and recording on spot, but that couldn't have been done. So I mean, here you got such a great lineup on Andy's album, on the New Normal Collaborative. Where you got members of the Stubborn All Stars and Slackers and Unsteady and Agrolites, who are not in the same town, not in the same state, and they're collaborating on music.
Yeah, not even the same state. The last person who I collaborated with is in Russia, 12-hour difference.
Awesome.
And he is got all right, shout out to Simon from Lollipop Lori. He's been doing some recordings with me, and he's the best. Hit him up because he's 12 hours away in Russia, but he's down. He's got the pocket. I'm not gonna complain to the guy down the street here in my town in Washington who doesn't want to play drums. The way I put it is most of the drummers I know don't want to play drums. So I want to find drummers who want to play drums. I want to find guitar players who want to play guitar. It's not about anything else. It's about like do you want to play your instrument or not? Because some people just don't really, and it's like that's okay. But like, I'm not gonna sit here and try to beg you and be like, please pick up your instrument. Like I'm gonna hang out with you guys. You know, like
don't even chase anybody.
Right.
I remember I was in one of my first collaborative efforts trying to start a band, and we had one of these droopy shoegazer guys that was playing guitar. He was a really good guitarist, but like, super like, I'm not going to say anything, and I'm just going to look like dark and pensive all the time. And at some point, we were talking about how to structure this song, and he sat down on a flip-out chair and put his guitar on his lap and then laid down on his guitar like he's asleep. And I just stopped right in the middle of the conversation. I was like 18, 19 years old. And I looked at him, I'm all, do you think it's time to sleep? Because you can fucking leave right now. You're wasting all of our time. What are you getting mad at? And I'm like, I'm getting mad at the fact that we're actually actively trying to construct something here, and you have completely checked out. And that was me like, right. Now it's like just keep the fucking ball.
But when you
just keep the ball rolling.
When you don't have an option to like replace that person, it really puts you up against the wall and it really starts forcing you to like settle. Mm-hmm. And that's where I was as a band leader. I led a band for 1.5 years and had 5 trumpet players, 5 trombone players, 3 singers who ended up not staying in the band. I was the singer, 3 drummers, 3 bass players, 4 guitarists. In 1.5 years, I burnt the fuck out. And then when I saw Skank Bank was like, hey, we're going on a 7-week tour. It was my first tour. Yeah, Skank Bank. Yeah. Sure. They were like, hey, we need a sax player for a 7-week tour. I was just like, fuck it. I don't give a fuck. Like, and like we honestly held it together for like 5.5 weeks, but then we were all dehydrated and like dying of heat stroke in the middle of the New Mexico desert. And like we played a brewery and got like a bunch of double IPAs, so everyone was all fucked up. Like it was intense. But like I came back and people were like, Eric, you've changed. Like that was my first tour. It wasn't 1 week, it wasn't 2, it was 7 fucking weeks. But yes, no, shout out to Skank Bank too. Like we all learned a shit ton.
I've been doing this for almost 30 years and I ain't going on a 7-week tour.
Yeah, no, I got thrown into that shit. That was the kind of fire I tried to be birthed in, and so far so good.
No.
So far so good.
Nice. Well, hey, we're definitely way past the hour. Let's wrap it up.
Can I just take half a second to thank Brian? Brian, I never knew what a wind tunnel in the middle of Hawaiian traffic sounded like until this experience.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Nice.
Hold on. Before we leave, I just gotta.
Oh, rub it in, dickhead.
Yep. Hold on. Right there. Yep, right there.
Yeah.
That's the Pacific right there. That's my pool. That's my pool down there. That's Pacific out there.
Rude. If you pushed him out the window, he'd land just to the right of the pool.
Perfect.
You know what?
Hey, man. Come on, man.
No, horn players don't have to stick together.
I do know.
True. That's true.
All right, guys. We got Brian. Brian, what's your takeaway for today?
That I love you all very much, and I miss being around all of you. That's my takeaway from today.
Hoss, what's your takeaway for today?
We didn't talk about Fishbone nearly enough. We got to do this again. We got to do this again.
We got to do it again. Bosco, what's your takeaway?
Boss about the Fishbone thing. And it's actually really nice to be able to be a part of this with a bunch of talent. I mean, I MC and I DJ, and to be able to have you guys and bounce ideas off of it, great. And no joke, you said it right. Like network, always keep the network going, and stay in touch, because that's the only way we're ever going to be able to have actual decent shows ever again. If someone reaches out to me, and it's happened to me before, and like they get to me, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Here's the venue. Here's this. Here's that. You know what I mean? Like it just keeps the flow going. I mean, I was in South America, and Rosario reached out to me. He's like, hey, I want to play a show in Santiago. I'm like, I know places in Santiago. Let's do this. But then COVID hit, so there's that.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Middagh, what's your takeaway?
Santiago, German for a Wells vagina. Second, Santiago,
back it up.
German for a Wells vagina.
Oh, and Chile?
Second, Norwood Fisher said I was hood. Yeah.
Wait. Middagh. You need to help me get Norwood on this program. Yes.
We'll talk. But yeah, I grew up in a town until 9th grade called Hawaiian Gardens. The largest gangland bust in American history was in Hawaiian Gardens, where 1 out of every 10 people who lived there was arrested. The head of Barrio Hawaiian Gardens, which these Mexican mafia lit off from because, you know, they wanted something a little nicer. When they got busted, my best friend from 2nd grade until 9th grade. So I guess I was hood. But last 16 days. 16 days, and it's all over. 16 days.
Wow.
16 days.
16 days is a big sigh of relief.
16 days.
It ain't over.
2 days from now, quit whining. It's over for you. But 16 days, it's a brand new day.
Yep. And Eric, what's your takeaway for the day?
Yeah, young man.
I only say that because, like, I've had the funniest interactions with people, like, at shows. When we played that bar in Vegas, Curtis, this dude super drunk was like, hey, bro, you sounded so good with Monkey Man. Dude, I think I saw you at that last Monkey show, bro. I think it was like 98. And I was like, nah, dude. That was not me. like I have experiences like that like really show me that like you're a fucking baby, dude. You know, so that's why I mention it. But no,
I ask something before you go on. Just one more thing, Eric. What was your mom's maiden name?
What?
It's like, fuck your father.
You're not my father.
You are not my father. Where is it? No! I made it work.
It has been
Curtis.
But no.
Curtis, what is your takeaway?
My takeaway is that you guys are all a bunch of bastards.
Hey, don't let the bastards grind you down.
Don't let
Take it up with my folks. I wasn't even born then.
My takeaway is, man, I wish Rob was involved in
Rob, who couldn't make it. For Rob, who couldn't make it.
Takeaway is we gotta talk more often. We gotta talk more often.
For Rob from the Toasters for doing such a great interview today. He'll be back. He'll be back sometime in the future. He says hugs and kisses to everyone. Sorry he had an emergency.
Kisses and hugs.
Absolutely. Yes. Kisses and hugs. And thank you all for being part of this. I'm Curtis, and this is the Bidness.